Okay, we are here in the last lesson of the module and we're going to start some practice activities based around our topic and learning in university life and studies in general. So we'll go over some of the skills, phrases, language that we've learnt over the past few lessons. Let's jump into activity 1. So correct the mistakes in the following sentences. Underline the phrasal verbs too. So I want you to try and spot any mistakes. So you could rewrite these sentences I'm giving you. And then I want you to underline the phrasal verbs. Beginning with, she's no fun. Really bring down the mood. Excuse me, could it be possible looking over this order? Things is tough right now, but I'm sure we'll get by. And finally, Beckham is a great role model. I really looked up at him. Okay, so I'm going to give you 2 minutes to go through these sentences, correct any mistakes, and underline the phrasal verbs. Your 2 minutes starts now. Okay, let's take a look at the answers. So we'll begin at the top with she's no fun. And here are the mistakes edited. She's no fun. Really bringing down the mood. So this was more a case of tense for the verb bring, bringing down. Of course, that means to make things less fun, to change the atmosphere. She's really bringing down the mood. Okay, next up, here are the edits. Excuse me, would it be possible to look over this order? So we've actually changed a few things here. We have the verb, the modal verb, instead of could, it makes more sense to use would. It sounds more native. Would it be possible? And then we have to look over. So we're requesting with the to look over. And of course, we've changed the tense from looking just into past simple. Could you look over this order, please? Could you give it one more look? Okay, and our next one, edited, here we are. Things are tough right now, but I'm sure we'll get by. So we've changed the is into the are. Things are tough right now, but I'm sure we'll. That's the correct auxiliary verb. We will get by. So there's the changes for that. And finally, Beckham is a great role model. I really look or looked up to him. So we've got the wrong preposition there, that at. Instead of that, we need to look up to someone. Now, I've added both present simple and past because you could use either. I really looked up to him. I don't anymore. I really look up to him. I still do. I always look up to this person. So either tense is okay. Right, let's move on to activity 2. So write definitions for the following phrasal verbs. So I want you to tell me what the phrasal verbs mean. Beginning with get ahead, and then look into, look after, get at, bring around, and finally bring over. So give me a definition of what each of these phrasal verbs means. And your 2 minutes starts now. Right, let's take a look at the definitions for each of these, starting with get ahead. It means to be successful and have an advantage on or over other people. Get ahead in life. I'm studying really hard and I hope I can get ahead in life. I can be successful. Look into means to research, inquire about something. It can also mean to kind of investigate as well. I didn't realize there was a problem with your booking for a hotel. I'll look into the booking. I'll investigate. I'll check it out further. Look after. To take care of someone or something. I'm really going to look after my new suit. I promise I won't ruin it. Next one is get at, which simply means to annoy or frustrate. He's really getting at me, really annoying. So it means, to annoy somebody is probably the best definition. Bring around means to convince or simply just to change a person's thinking. Derek didn't like this book, but I brought him around after explaining the real meaning. So I changed someone's ideas or the way they think. And finally, bring over. With the use that we looked at, it means to simply take something to another location. Oh yes, I'll be very careful and make sure I bring over my bag to university or whatever the example may be. Take something to another location. Okay, and now on to activity 3. So I would like you to underline the schwa sounds in the following sentences. This is going to be tricky, and also do remember that depending on pronunciation, people may use the schwa sound in different locations. But as long as you've got a general idea, so there are places where really you could say that could be a schwa, but as long as you can identify in general, I'll get very similar sounds. So don't worry if you don't exactly match with my answers, but just try and underline as many schwa sounds as you think there are in each sentence. So number 1, you know, I'm always looking to study more at home. Her sister is amazing at tennis and badminton. Self-study is great, but I find it hard to motivate myself. I'd love to head down to university with you. Sorry though, I've made other plans. Maybe tomorrow. Come on, it's really important we study super hard for this test. If we fail, it will be awful. Okay, so have a look through, try and identify where you think possible schwa sounds could be, and of course don't worry too much if you don't match exactly with me. It very much does depend on people's pronunciation, but it's just good to be able to understand what the schwa is and where it is within certain words. So your 2 minutes start now. Okay, if you need a little bit more time, of course, you can pause the video. But I think it's time that we took a look at the answers that I identified with the schwa. So you. Now, if we say it slowly, you, there's no schwa. But native speakers are always making these shortcuts and to speak faster. So instead of you would say, you know, you know. You know, I'm always looking to study more at home. That schwa sound there. Looking to study more at home. So 2 in the first sentence. Second sentence, her sister is amazing at tennis and badminton. So the third one, badminton, I think does depend on your pronunciation, but definitely for sister and amazing. You could almost argue, depending on pronunciation, for at too. Amazing at tennis. Okay, number 3. Self-study is great, but I find it hard to motivate myself. So the study is a schwa sound actually in the middle, a schwa sounding in the middle of the word study is great, but now you can see that I'm missing out the T sound, but. It's great, but I'm just finishing on the schwa. Very common for native speakers to do. Self-study is great, but I find it hard to motivate myself. Okay, number 4. I'd love to head down to university with you. We could probably say both to is a schwa. Sorry though, I've made other plans, maybe tomorrow. So other. So generally speaking, a lot of the times when words end with er, it's often with a schwa sound. And also tomorrow has a schwa towards the beginning. Finally, come on, it's really important we study super hard for this test. If we fail, it will be awful. So important. It's got that schwa sound just after the T, important. And you can see again that I don't emphasize the last T, important. It's really important we study super hard for this test. Now the for here, if I was the Queen of England, I might say hard for this test with a lot of stress. But a lot of native English speakers would say hard for this test, Okay, tricky exercise there, but super useful. Let's move on to activity 4. So practice saying the following words 10 times each, or as many times as you can within the 2-minute time frame. I'm going to say them once at the start so you can replay and listen to my pronunciation, and then you can just practice saying these words again and again. So I think this will be very useful for improving your pronunciation. So we'll start in the top left. Again. Again. Teacher. Teacher. Father. Father. Amazing. A schwa at the start. Amazing. Bacon. Bacon. Banana. Banana. The. Brother. Brother. Water. Water. Better. Better. Police. Police. Sofa. Sofa. So if you'd like to hear them again, of course you can go back through and maybe repeat after my pronunciation, but I'd just like you to spend some time going through these words and having a go at the pronunciation of the schwa. Now, I've tried to find words where the schwa's at the beginning, schwa's at the end, schwa's in the middle, so that you can practice a range of different pronunciations. So your 2 minutes starts now. Okay, I hope you have had a good time practicing the pronunciation of these words. At times, drilling exercises like this, where we do a lot of repetition, can be super useful. So don't be afraid to do drilling exercises like this when you feel it's appropriate. Okay, on to our final activity, activity 5. And I would like you to write a sentence with the following pronouns and auxiliary verb pairs. I'd like you to write them with the contractions. So let's take a look. First up, we have they will, they'll. We are, we're. Finally, you have, you've. So I'd like you to use the contraction. So write a sentence. You can practice saying this too. For the 3 contractions of pronoun and auxiliary verb: they'll, we're, and you've. Right, I think it's now time for us to take a look at my examples, just so that you can see how I would have used them in writing and speaking. So up first, I'm sure they'll bring over some books for us to study with. And for we're, you've got to say we're really studying very hard. There's actually 2 contractions there. You've, you have. So the pronoun you with the auxiliary verb have. You've got to say we're really studying very hard. And here we go on to another example of you have, you've. Look, you've got to pay more attention in class. You've. Okay, so 3 interesting examples there. I hope that you found these practice activities useful, and it's now time for us to move on to Module 10.